Okay, I guess everyone's having lunch at the moment, but I think maybe when they hear the commotion, they'll come in. So this is an interesting time for digital. I think for many years we were all promised, some of us even promoted the idea that through, if we could all just freely communicate with one another, then things would just automatically get better. And how's that working out these days? We have, last month, did anybody see the Apple, it's 10 years since the first iPhone. Did anybody see the Apple Keynote last month? Anybody watch that? Okay, well, you had the whole Apple executives hyperventilating about the iPhone X, the greatest innovation since the original iPhone, and we're watching this fancy glittery thing, and then all of a sudden, and at the end, the big innovation was animated emojis. That was the big innovation. And I was at a tech conference last month, and actually the theme of the tech conference was digital sucks. It kind of tells you something. These days we have fake news, not the fake news of Donald Trump, but the real fake news, and we have populist and extremist groups growing. These are all, digital is bringing all, this is a direct result of digital, right? We even have populist candidates becoming the heads of the free world. And what else? We have, foreign elements trying to influence elections, and 30-year-olds with way too much power, abusing that power. And especially we have an entire species that's now completely distracted by gossip, trivia, and I guess now animated emojis. So there's one area where digital really, really doesn't suck, and that's the area where it's helping everyone to be healthier and to helping to improve the health and well-being of people around the world. And today we have 10 new companies that are doing exactly that, and those are our this year's World Health Summit Startup Track finalists. And each of them will have 3 minutes to present their case up here. Then the jury, who is sitting in the front here, will have 2 minutes to ask a question or two, so a total of 5 minutes. And maybe I should just really quickly introduce the jury. Moment. Oh, wrong thumb. So you guys want to stand, or do you want to? Go ahead, stand, why not? Good exercise. Or don't stand, okay. Anyway, okay, Kai-Uwe Binseil from Berlin Partner for Business and Technology, Jutta Klauer from Pfizer, Sherry Langemark from Philips, Markus Muschenik from Flying Health, and Kier Reichert from Ready School of Digital Integration, Renata Radon from Microsoft, Oliver Schenk from the German Ministry of Health, and Ute Weiland from Deutschland Land der Ideen. So, ready with the first finalist. Who says doctors don't make house calls anymore? Our first finalist, CareNX from Mumbai, are developing technologies to facilitate doorstep care for pregnant women. Please welcome Aditya Kolkami and Dr. Micah Henningsson from CareNX to the stage. Woo. So, two people, do you need two microphones, or? Okay, here's your one microphone, and here's your clicker. You know how to use that, right?
Yeah.
Press the button. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Good afternoon. I'm Aditya, and she is my advisor, Maike. We are from CareNX Innovations, a healthcare company from India that works in maternal care space. If you look at global maternal mortality, Asia and Africa are the continents who are suffered the most. In India, every 10 minutes a pregnant mother dies. And this is because of obvious reasons of excess bleeding, prenatal conditions, hypertensive disorder, and whatnot. WHO says 60% of these deaths can be prevented. However, the problem is health access gap. When 30 million pregnancies happen each year in India, not all mothers are fortunate enough to get this service. This is because there is one doctor to every 1,000 mothers. And these mothers stay very remotely so that the health access is very, very costly for them to achieve. And because of the travel expenses, they don't avail this service. However, there can be a solution when we provide a doorstep maternal care to these mothers through existing chain of health workers, which are 1 million in India. If you provide them with smart technology and they provide doorstep access to health. We can early identify the complications in pregnancy and provide safe births. So this is our solution called as Care Mother. It's a doorstep prenatal care platform with early identification of high risk. It is in the form of a software application over mobile phone, and this kit of sensor that you can see right here, which provides all the antenatal tests in a portable manner. We re-engineered every device in the kit so as to achieve maximum portability and affordability. As an example, my advisor is a carrying device which would be a replacement to CTG machine at 1/10 of the price point, and health workers on ground would be able to do non-stress tests. We create value for all the stakeholders involved while using this solution. So hospitals, when they use it through chain of health workers, reduce their operational expenses to reach out to many patients, as well as women get affordable services at home. And we have been able to reach out to 20 organizations. More than 30,000 pregnancies have been cared from 1,000+ villages across India. And this innovation has been selected from time to time by many organizations as an innovation that will change the maternal-mortality ratios across the world. We have a very nice interdisciplinary team of people and advisors all across the world that are carrying out this project. We are hopeful that we will empower almost 3 million pregnant women in next 3 years. Thank you.
So do we have questions from the jury? Jury Mitglieders. Yes. 2 questions.
What is the business model behind it? How are you going to make money?
Okay, very good question. So we sell this kit and a software platform to health organizations who might be hospitals or NGOs who are working in maternal care space. These organizations already have chain of health workers to deploy this. And we sell it at a fixed price and earn recurring revenue on per mother registration that they do on our software platform.
Do we have time for a second question? Timekeeper? Okay.
What's the similar?
Oh, same question. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Excellent.
Thank you.
So, I have to look at my thing here. Well, if there's one thing we can all agree on, it's that no one wants to get malaria. But if you do get infected, early and accurate diagnosis is essential for treatment. Our second finalist, SciDogma from Bangalore, has a solution for areas with low resources. Please welcome Dr. Satya Tapas. Is he here? Oh, there he is. Where's your clicker here? It's on, I think it's on.
It's working? It's working?
Yeah, okay. Here's your clicker.
Hi, I'm Satya. I'm founder of SciDogma Research. Let me start with a very simple question. How many of you have used the microscope, maybe in school, college, or maybe in research? Please raise your hands. Excellent. Probably you can understand my problems that I'm trying to understand. Well, in school and colleges, students are never allowed to operate the microscope in absence of teachers, right? Because it requires skill. Same thing happened in diagnosis as well, because microscopy requires human expertise, not only to operate the microscope, but for also diagnosis. Also, it is a labor-intensive process, and in India, in rural areas, the samples are sent to the different geographical areas for critical microscopic investigations. To address such challenges, we came up with a completely novel idea. We completely proposed a disruptive microscope design. It's essentially one optical microscope, which has its automated features like auto alignment, auto focus, auto scanning. It is a battery operated, portable. You can click microscopic photos. You can share with other devices. Moreover, you can connect to the projector for live demonstration as well. So most importantly, we are targeting the rural setups. Its price is just 550 USD. It's affordable by all class of laboratories. So we customized this microscope for education grade called MyScope. Children love it. They control this through a joystick, click the photos, and we see a different level of curiosity, different level of confidence while operating this microscope independently. Most importantly, the diagnostic grade of CNC microscope is a smart scope. It's smart in terms of you can integrate artificial intelligence and machine learning to make automated. We have successfully developed algorithm for malaria diagnosis, which is under trial. Also, we are working with other infectious diseases. Most importantly, this device also can be controlled through a cloud platform which is called Cloudscope. It's as simple as you install this device in rural areas where pathologists in city hospital, they can control this device on real time, they can do the imaging, they can do the diagnosis on real time. So we are trying to help different telemedicine startups and virtual labs to give the service to 70% population of our country through this cloud platform. We are entering 6.78 billion markets. We have two business models. One time selling of the device. Second is per use business model as you are using the cloud platform. So our technology is selected by Stanford Medicine X, DST Lockheed Martin as one of the emerging technology in healthcare space. And we are privileged to be here. We are looking for opportunities for collaboration and investment. As you know, the world is heading towards the AI, machine learning, and cloud computing. Other end, microscope is a basic instrument in the lab which is most neglected. The design is more than 100 years old. Now, seriously, you have to think to design the microscope to make it more capable, more efficient. That's why I would like to say the world needs a new microscope. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Questions from the jury? Anybody? No questions? Yes, we have.
Do you work with partners? What kind of partners do you have?
Yes, we are working with different virtual labs. Virtual lab concept is like in India, 70% population is poorly connected with well-equipped labs. So there are a lot of startups, telemedicine startups, they are working in that space where they can provide the best diagnostics to the rural areas. We are helping them, we are working with them, as well as we are working with the different hospitals to validate our technology. And we are developing cloud platform for those startups where remotely they can do the microscopic investigations.
So how many machines are on the market right now?
Okay,
And where do you build those 10,000 machines for this world market?
That's why we started this project 2 years back with support of funding from the government of India. Recently, we just raised the next round of funding to make it a market-ready product. We are very early stage. That's why we are looking for investors to fund us to scale up this technology. We are planning to launch our Microscope, the first model, to the market in 2018. Still, it is in prototype stage, and we're looking for investment.
I also have a question regarding the business model.
Yes.
How do you intend to make money?
Yes.
And there are two sub-questions related to that.
Okay.
Do you want to stay in the Indian market predominantly? And secondly, what is the role of partners helping you to scale and to make money?
Yes, that's a great question. So it's not an Indian problem, it's a global problem, microscopic problem. So if you look at the developing countries, all developed countries, a serious problem. If you look at the Europe and the US also, if you have ever come across the biopsy samples are sent to the different geographical areas for microscopic investigations. And we believe that this technology can solve that problem. So we are open for the global partnerships. And we have two business models as I proposed, this one-time selling of the device. Second thing is that per use business model as you are using the cloud platform while uploading the images or downloading the images for the image processing, there is another model of business model. And we are open for the collaboration. We are looking for the other countries for business development. Anyway, we want to start and validate our technology in Indian market first.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
That's good. Our third finalist comes all the way from Warschauer Straße. So that's actually like around the corner from here. He said he didn't walk, he took the streetcar. So their mission is to revolutionize prosthetic care. Please welcome Lucas Pais de Melo from Amparo. So you also, sorry, yeah.
Hello?
Of course.
Yes,
It's
this
working,
one
it's working,
to
it's all
the
good.
right.
Okay.
There you go. Hello, everyone. My name is Lucas. I'm a public health specialist, and together with my team, Felix Dietrich is there. He's also a co-founder. We're gonna revolutionize the prosthetic world. Well, did you know that 1 in every about 200 people in the world is an amputee? For those who have a lower limb amputation, this means never walking again. And these adds up to about 30 million people. For those who don't have a prosthetic leg, they'll keep on the crutches or not even that sometimes. So let me explain how it works. A prosthetic leg has three main components. Both the foot and the pylon are standardized components where you can buy in different sizes in the market. The socket, on the other hand, is the most individualized part. So it must be individually customized and handcrafted by a specialized technician in an equipped rehabilitation clinic or prosthetic clinic or orthopedic workshop, more technically said. And how it's done nowadays. It takes an average of about 10 hours, or at least 8 hours it's going to take, and many iterations with the patient. And so it takes a lot of time. And ultimately, people that live in rural areas in developing countries, they're mostly reliable on public services or NGOs. These overloads health systems. And it means, for example, that the 2 million new amputees that exist every year in developing countries alone, about 90% of them do not have access to modern prostheses. For those who live then in the rural areas, they have to travel long distances. And sometimes they don't have the resources to do that. If you live in the urban areas, you have to go in the waiting lines, and it can take up to 3 years for you to acquire a prosthesis. And so we realized that in order to give more access to prosthetics, we needed to redefine prosthetic socket technology. And that's when we came up with the Amparo socket. It's an all-in-one solution that comes in different sizes, and it's going to help amputees from all over the world to walk again. So it's made of a low-temperature thermoplastic that allows us to do the entire fitting process directly on the residual limb. So we take at about 1.5 hours, the amputee is already able to walk. Apart from that, the material is remoldable. So whenever he needs new sockets, instead of acquiring new devices, he can actually use the same one again. And the beauty of it all, we developed kind of an IKEA style. So whenever with an IKEA style tooling, so all the tools go in a sports bag, and you can actually do mobile rehabilitation. And Amparo is then much faster, it's cost efficient, and it enables mobile rehabilitation. This is pretty much our dream. We want to empower amputees and give them the opportunity to go back to their normal life. Thank you very much.
That was great. Awesome. So questions. Here's a quick question.
Thanks a lot for the presentation. Especially in that area, you see a lot of 3D printing approaches. So I was wondering what the advantage of your approach is compared to 3D printing.
Thank you very much for this question. This is actually very common to hear. And the thing is, if you want to provide access, you don't use high technology. The more high-tech that you go, the more specialized people you need, and you need a bigger investment for you to start providing that. So we went for low-tech, so we could actually provide more access to people. That was the main idea.
Okay, thanks.
So are there already patients or people living with this device?
We are in the finalizing product development phase. We have a few people, about 3 people, that have been using it for a few months. But we're now finishing the first manufacturable pieces, and only when you have a standard product, you can actually go through the CE mark. Otherwise, it's all prototype, one differs from another. So we're finalizing this in the next month. We're going to do the CE mark, and we'll enter the market beginning of next year.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much.
That was right. Epilepsy affects around 50 people around the world. A big challenge in treatment is being able to monitor their seizures. Monikit from Stuttgart is working on just that. Let's have a warm hand for Kevin Klatt from monikit. There you are. Microphone and clicker. Oh, by the way, I have one of these from the last guy. I have a prosthesis for my finger. I got one. You can go there. You can go to his place. You can get prosthesis for your finger if you want one.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Kevin. I'm one of the founders of monikit, and our mission is to help people with epilepsy. With over 50 million affected worldwide, epilepsy is one of the most common neurological disorders globally. And for patients, an epileptic seizure feels like an electrical storm in the brain. They basically slip into darkness, and afterwards they feel defeated and often hopeless. Up to 70% of all epileptic patients can have their seizures fully controlled with the right medication. However, the current way to design a treatment plan is embarrassing and like a gambling game. It relies heavily on patient reports and on handwritten seizure diaries, and these are known to be highly inaccurate. Patients fail to record up to 40% of the big generalized seizures and up to 70% of the small focal seizures. Still, physicians have to adjust their treatments based on this rough information, and this may lead to major side effects such as amnesia, depression, or anxiety. We want to help these people to get a more personalized treatment by providing them with a mobile epilepsy monitoring system. Monikit is designed to detect and track epileptic seizures in daily situations and to share data among patients and providers. And our goal is to recognize 85% of the generalized and focal seizures. And based on this more reliable information, physicians can now improve therapy selection, reduce side effects, and eventually help patients to get seizure-free more efficient. How does our business model look like? Well, on the one hand, we offer a wearable device for the patients, and on the other hand, the wearable device is connected to an app with additional freemium services. They include, for example, alarm notifications to call for help during a seizure. What makes us special? Well, monikit is precise. Our algorithm detects generalized and focal seizures. Monikit is convenient. It's made for daily usage and doesn't stigmatize. And monikit is essential. It's not only an alert system, it rather helps finding the best therapy for the patient. We have formed a great team of engineers, data scientists, and epileptologists behind monikit. And I'm really happy to announce that recently we have cracked the benchmark of 75 correctly detected generalized and focal seizures in the clinical settings of the University Hospital of Tübingen. And in our next steps, we want to take our next prototype to an outpatient trial and compare the results there. To go fast, we're already in talks with advanced talk with investors. And yeah, if you would also like to be part of our mission, please come and talk to us after the pitch. Thank you very much.
Great. So, questions from the jury? Yes, we have hands going wild. Okay.
Thank you very much. Can you let us know which kind of data or vital sign you actually measure?
Yeah, I was hoping you wouldn't ask the question because, yes, we are in the middle of patent issues right now, or patent processes. So I unfortunately can't tell too much technical details, but they're not based on movement parameters. They're more like, it's a chest belt. It's more like something which is in the chest belt. I can say that.
Yes, thank you. One question regarding the business model. Are you in contact with insurance companies or something like that?
Yes, we've been in contact with the TK, with the Technische Krankenkasse. We're still in contact with them, but for us we decided to go to the second health market first, because for the insurance companies it takes quite a while until we're able to go into this insurance thing. Yeah.
Is that it? Okay. Good, thanks. Sounds complicated. The treatment of cancer is a long and traumatic journey. Fosanis from Berlin are here to help. Let's have a big hand for Dr. Gandalf Finker and Dr. Jan Simon Rauer. You need 2 microphones or 1 enough, or? Okay.
Hello?
Clicker.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Gandalf, this is Jan Simon, and together we founded Fosanis. Fosanis provides digital support for cancer patients. To tell you how this works, I want to tell you the story of Hannah. Hannah's 31, she's the mother of a young boy. One day, she started feeling a small lump in her breast. After many medical appointments, she gets the diagnosis confirmed. It's breast cancer. She goes home and calls her best friend, but she doesn't remember most of the things that the doctor told her. She does what most of us would do. She turns to Google, only to find more than 150 million results for the term breast cancer. She's frustrated because most of what she finds is not actionable or applicable to her situation. During her therapy, Hannah will suffer from very strong side effects of the medication that she has to take, such as nausea, diarrhea, and very strong pain. She will go and see the doctor, but often doesn't remember what the exact side effects were that she experienced and at which time. The doctor also doesn't have a lot of time to address her personal questions, such as what to eat or how her personal financial situation is affected by cancer.
And this is why we have developed the Fosanis Companion, an app that accompanies patients like Hannah throughout their therapy journeys. It consists of 2 parts. Monitoring enables patients to manage their symptoms and side effects. Coaching provides practical advice and mental support. And here's how patients like Hannah can be supported by the Fosanis Companion. Coaching provides Hannah personalized contents ranging from explanation of therapy options, recipes, or physical exercises to survivor stories of other former patients. In the monitoring part, Hannah can log her symptoms and side effects as well as her medication adherence. In meetings with Hannah's doctor, this data provides a solid baseline for the early detection of complications and better therapy decisions. The Fosanis Companion not only increases adherence and the quality of life for patients, but also decreases the cost of cancer treatment, one of the most expensive parts of global healthcare. We are an experienced team dedicated to the mission of improving cancer care. And from this week on, the first patients will use the Fosanis Companion in a clinical trial. Now we are looking forward to discussing your questions. Thank you.
We have some questions? Yeah.
Is it the business model?
No. 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 Have you involved patients in the development of this? Yeah, I assume it's an app. Yeah. And a second question. It's probably a medical device. So can you tell us something about the status of the medical device certification you're probably in?
So the first question, yes, we're talking to a lot of patients, or we have talked to a lot of patients in the process of this. We're working very closely with the psycho-oncologist of the University of Leipzig, who is leading in that field in Germany, to include exactly that expertise. So we have that part sort of covered, I believe. And from a medical device perspective, we're not a medical device right now, because of what we do is basically right now saving symptoms and putting them back out, but not taking any therapeutic advice or anything based on that. We are, however, in the process of doing that for a second product version, which will launch beginning of next year, and will be a medical device then.
How do you deal with the coaching? Is that very personal, or is that handled via the app? For instance, are you connecting people so that they are interacting with each other, or do you say it's just the interaction with the app?
So far, it's the app. Longer term, we definitely want to integrate a community aspect of, and one model we've sort of thought about is a buddy model where patients can sort of coach and support other patients who have just started on that journey. So that's definitely on top of mind. We think it's very difficult to do that really, really well. So we started off with a model that's just based on this automated system, but we definitely want to include a more human component longer term.
Just one quick question. Is it only a B2C solution, or do you want to involve healthcare professionals as well, so that they can see like what symptoms patients might record and give advice then?
For now, it's actually a solution where the patient uses the app. But as we have seen, it's already possible to share the data, of your own health status, health state with your doctors. But in the longer term, of course, we want to integrate with healthcare professionals, with clinics and oncologists.
Okay, thank you. So last year, actually, I had a personal experience happen to me when someone in my family had a fairly long stay in a hospital. It wasn't a great time for us. The doctors were great, the nurses were great, but the documentation and communication between the different departments was honestly a nightmare. The company imito is developing solutions that will hopefully make that a problem of the past. Let's welcome Chrysanth Solzberger to the stage.
Sharing a photo of a deliciously prepared dessert with a friend, the easy way. Smartphones have changed our way of communicating. And what we love to do in our private lives becomes more and more popular in the professional environment. So in many hospital teams, it's common practice that WhatsApp is being used to get a second opinion or to inform a colleague about the patient's condition. Our survey with 500 European physicians revealed that more than 50% of the physicians already use their smartphone for clinical photography, and that was 2015. So clearly the use of WhatsApp is worrying, and it's still great to see, on the other hand, that they already adopted the technology which is available today to improve their processes. And ImitoCam steps right into this process with 3 functions. So first, the patient-centered recording of photos and videos, and including the wound measurement. Then second, the immediate exchange of the findings with the team. Our team chat enables doctors to exchange their findings in a collaborative and interdisciplinary way among the hospital. And third, the seamless and standardized integration into the hospital's electronic medical record. So in short, with ImitoCam, we are optimizing and improving the quality of clinical documentation and allow it this way to provide a better treatment. So last year we proved the need of our solution in the market in Switzerland and built a solid foundation for Imito. Meanwhile, our solution goes beyond the national border and is becoming the standard for visual documentation and communication in hospitals. And as you can see, our nurses and doctors in the hospitals are using the solution every day. It's a valuable helper for them. And with our interdisciplinary team, we will continue to unleash the mobile technology in the hospitals. So our passion is to simplify the processes and tasks for doctors in their daily lives. And we've already started, since we love to snap photos in our private life, to engage patient in this way. And this is our contribution to digital transformation in healthcare. Thank you very much.
First question.
So you have shown a lot of significant logos of big partner hospitals. How many of those hospitals are already using your system, and who's already paying for it?
Everyone is paying for it, so there is no free trial available. And they're in different states. So, for example, with our development partner, the University Hospital of Basel, we've rolled out it into more than 20 clinics. In other hospitals, it's in an earlier stage, but yeah, everywhere it's in the initialization phase. Yeah.
One question, how do you get the images out of the professional systems and the information into the professional systems?
How we are transferring the images into the electronic medical record? Or?
Not the opposite. How do you get the images from, let's say, CT into your system? That's what I would like to know.
Okay, that's a great question. We already integrate our photos into these archives in the hospitals, so we're able to retrieve as well additional images from different sources, but very often they just take screenshots. Very often it happens that they take screenshots from endoscopic surgery videos or from CTs taking videos, so yeah.
I'm always curious about the financial figures, since you said that the transactions are already being paid for. Would you already say that the company is profitable?
So that was the goal for this year, and yeah, I would say we're self-funded, and we don't have external investments, and we're able to pay the salaries for our team, yeah, so far.
So you're writing schwarze Null?
Hopefully,
more or less.
at the end of this year, yeah.
Good.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So how many bones are there in the human body? Someone out there must know that answer, right? How many? Yeah, 206, exactly. How many diseases, how many human diseases are there in the world? Anybody know that? Well, something like around 30,000. That's a lot, that's a lot to memorize. So the next, nobody has that good of a memory. So the company Amboss has developed a platform for doctors and medical students to help them master that mountain of information. Dr. Sievert Weiss is here to tell us more.
Hello. Some of you might know there's a vast amount of medical information out there, spread across various sources, even with its volume doubling every 3 years or so at the moment. And much of this information on top is cumbersome and quickly outdated. This means that instant access to reliable and concise knowledge is nearly impossible. My name is Sievert. I'm a physician and co-founder of Amboss. Amboss is an interdisciplinary perspective on all medical subjects with all the information on relevant diseases, drugs, and procedures. It is available both in English and German. It is supported by desktop and mobile, and it is and our content is curated, updated, and cross-checked by a team of more than 60 full-time physicians on a daily basis. Amboss offers more than 1,000 chapters that are in-depth and interlinked, with more than 4,000 visuals and illustrations to make medicine better understandable. And our video library teaches you clinical skills. Amboss offers also more than 1,500 questions in English and more than 10,000 in German. These questions and all the other parts of the content are tightly interlinked to make it possible to dig as deeply into the content as needed. Now, this all seems pretty ambitious, but having started the company in 2011 already, we are proud to say that we are partnered with more than 30 universities and hospitals, have more than 200,000 users across 180 countries, and an international team of more than 200 employees. This has translated into a 95% market penetration amongst German exam candidates. Much of them use the program or the more practically oriented physicians mode once they become doctors. And having launched the English version just this year, we entered the international market and seek to introduce our solution to the world. With this, precisely with this English version, we intend to make an impact on global health because we are more than convinced that education and access to reliable information is key to empower the world's healthcare practitioners. We're delighted, or we would be delighted, if you want to join our endeavor and support our ambitious goal. And for more information, come by at our booth or feel free to write me an email. Thanks.
Thanks. Questions from the jury? Yes, we have a question here.
Hi, thanks. Is it possible for doctors to collect CME points via your online courses?
Yeah, not yet. For the international version, and in the US, for example, it is even possible to collect CME points just reading information. In Germany, this hasn't been legalized yet. But at some point, it'll be possible to collect CME points, and they'll be probably integrated with the chambers of the different federal states of Germany or within the world. Yeah.
So right now it's rather a personal incentive to maybe prepare for an examination later on, or why do doctors use your platform?
Doctors use our platform because it ensures them in their diagnostical and therapeutical reasoning. And as studies have shown, much of the belief of a doctor later turns out not maybe to be super correct. And 2/3 of the decisions are revised at a later point. So having an information system in place that allows you just as a backup and supplemental information to revise your reasoning.
Who are your competitors?
Where?
Who are your competitors?
The traditional publishers, for example, of course, they offer a lot of medical content in a different way, of course, presented. And especially for the physicians in emergency departments, for example, Google is definitely one of our competitors, even though Google is choosing a totally different approach. But this is all, or specifically why we think our option is better, because the content you see in our platform is curated by physicians and not just randomly sorted by SEO aspects or so.
Any other questions? That's it? Okay. Oh yeah, one more. Two more.
So how long will it take until you can actually study medicine in a blended learning model like you have, and then the student would take additional practical lessons in a university?
Yeah. It's one of our most favorite visions. The German system is complete. It is offering the entire curriculum and even more. So the first 5 years of a doctor's life are also covered with more practical information on therapeutics and diagnostics. So the platform offers different focuses regarding to your stage as a user. But for the German version, an online university, so to say, with partners from the hospital side would be available right now, if you want. For the English version, it'll take probably 1 or 2 years more. Yeah.
I would like to drill again into the question of competition. What would be the unique value proposition of your solution relative to the competition?
I think our content is, or one of the main factors is it is reliable because we curate the content ourselves, specialists from all of the fields, and we revise or at least have a look at all of the national guidelines depending on where we are situated. So the information is reliable and is updated daily. So apart from books, once they come out, they are already outdated. And this platform, it draws the information from all sites and distills it to what is really the key of what you need to know for a certain disease or therapy. What's the other part? Okay, so I think this is the most important part. Then I would add also that it is efficiently manageable, the information, because all of this is interlinked. So whenever you start with a search term like heart failure or so, and then you find another term in there that you don't know maybe, or you're not sure whether you know everything you should know, then you can just go on and on and on as far as you want, right? So it is a stepwise approach to the content. The more you know, the less you might need to, but the less you know, the more you can dig into the platform.
Okay, thank you.
There was one more.
Did you want to answer the question?
Do you have to pay for the content, or is it open source? Can you download it and use it again?
It's not open source. And I mean, there's also, apart from the software, there's the big part of the content, right? So as of now, you have to subscribe as a user. International version, $5 per month. Many universities in Germany, but all over the place also offer campus licenses to their students. So they buy it for the students and make it available for free for the students.
Okay, thank you. So it's not something you think about in a country like Germany, but I know from one of our clients that counterfeit medicine is a giant problem in other parts of the world. PharmaChk out of Boston University has a system that screens for poor quality medicines. Let's welcome Dr. Mohammed Zaman from PharmaChk to the stage.
Thank you. My name is Mohammed Zaman. I grew up in Pakistan and I'm now a professor at Boston University. All of us fall sick for one reason or another. But our ability to get better doesn't always depend on getting the right diagnosis at the right time or reaching the hospital in time. It also depends on getting the right medicine at the right time that is not fake or counterfeit or substandard. Unfortunately, this is a luxury for majority of the world living in low and middle income countries. Anywhere from 10 to 30% of all drugs in the world, and as many as 50% of drugs in low and middle income countries may be fake, substandard, counterfeit. This leads to the loss of about 500,000 lives every year. Of course, it leads to tremendous financial damage as well, and also affects something that we've been discussing in this meeting over and over again, antimicrobial resistance, one of the grandest challenges of public health of our time. Existing technologies just don't work. They're either too bulky, cumbersome, extremely expensive, too difficult to operate, require extensive training, and are unable to perform at all points in the supply chain. Out of this need came PharmaChk, a technology that is an optics-based technology, a platform technology that is able to perform drug testing and drug dissolution at all points in the supply chain. With minimal user training, no need for massive sample prep, and of course being able to do that in a way that is both quantitative and of course affordable. In many countries, including the country I grew up in, Pakistan, there is no real testing of drugs, and if there is, it's a lip service. It affects the most vulnerable groups, the refugees, the minorities, women and children, creating massive burden of disease. PharmaChk wants to change that through development of technology that tests the quality of drugs at all points, from the starting point all the way to the consumer. We want to empower people like Alfred, who has been our partner from the very beginning, For Alfred to go home and get the drugs that his kids got and to be able to test them is remarkably powerful. It empowers him. It empowers the system in Ghana, and in turn, it empowers us all. Our goal is to create a new gold standard, results that are relevant at a cost that is really low. We've done extensive studies in Ghana. We are now expanding to West Africa and soon to Southeast Asia as well. What we're looking for from partners like you are three things. New stakeholders and new partners who allow us to expand our portfolio, go to new markets. Ideas about business models in specific countries that help us. And of course, understanding the regulatory framework so we can make the best possible impact. Ultimately, we are driven by a single mission. So no matter who you are, where you live, what you look like, what your belief system may be, how much you earn, or whether you have no ability to pay, when you get sick, the drugs that you get are of the right quality every single time.
Thank you very much. We have some questions here. Yes, we have one over here.
Thank you. How do you incentivize people to do the testing throughout the supply chain?
So our partners actually are in-country regulators. We are in the business of sort of strengthening systems. So we work with local regulators. So for example, in Ghana, it would be FDA Ghana. In Indonesia, it would be that. So they have an entire system that we are working with. So that's one. And then, of course, private and public hospitals, large pharmaceutical chains, all of these are interested in this thing. But our first partner is in-country systems because at the end of the day, we want to strengthen health systems, and they have an entire network all the way from the point of entry to the lowest point.
Thanks.
What is your main motivation? Building up a company that earns a lot of money, or improving a really difficult situation in the world?
I think it's the latter. I think we are much more interested in sort of addressing this issue of strengthening the supply chain and strengthening the health system in a country. Because at the end of the day, when you have a problem like AMR, whether you are in Berlin or whether you're in Bogota or whether you're in Boston, you have the same challenge. And we really want to address it at the core and empower people and strengthen the systems there.
What do you actually compare the outcome of your measurement to? I mean, yeah.
Excellent question.
Yeah.
So typically when a drug is purchased, it has some kind of number. This is how much active ingredient it should have. Whether or not it has that is what we want to know. And also, US Pharmacopoeia, European Pharmacopoeia has guidelines on what it needs to be. And so we need to know exactly how does it compare to what the thing on the box is. And that really makes a decision whether you should get it or not, or whether it should go forward in the system or not. So there are guidelines as well as sort of criteria of what the drug should have.
And they are integrated in your system
Absolutely.
already, yeah?
So so there's a touch screen and there's sort of memory there as well. So we work directly with companies as well that are concerned about their products being counterfeited to know whether this thing really meets that criteria or not.
I was just about to ask you the questions about the partnerships.
Yeah, so we have three kinds of partnerships. The largest partnerships are with in-country regulators, right? And then there are sort of these large consortia, Gates Foundation, US Agency for International Development and things like that. And third one is, of course, pharmaceutical companies. The good, legitimate pharmaceutical companies are very concerned about their products being sort of abused, or their products being misused, or their products being sold under a different name. So there are three kinds of partnerships that we are looking at, with certainly tremendous emphasis on on-the-ground understanding of what the challenge in Ghana is or Indonesia is, and so on and so forth.
Okay, thank you. So I love the name of the next finalists, doctHERs. They're from Pakistan, and Dr. Asher Hassan is here. He's here, right? I'm right here. All right, because I know he was just barely got here, right? So Dr. Asher Hassan is here to explain what that is about.
Thank you. That's highly unusual for two Pakistanis to be together in a sequence. Wow, tough act to follow too. All right, so let's get cracking here. I'm a bit jet lagged, so if I do start, if my speech starts slurring, you'll understand why. So I'm going to start off by sharing with you a story of three women, three remarkable women. The first one is Fozia. She's a 28-year-old community health worker just outside Sialkot, Pakistan. She was trained by the government as part of a government health program, but she now, 8 years later, only earns still less than $5 a day, although she sees almost 30 patients every single day. The second lady, her name is Sophia, and as you can see, she works in a world-class factory making world-class footballs, bazookas, as you might recognize. Sophia is not able to access healthcare on site, which means in reality that she has to give up her daily wage, leave the factory and travel about 45 minutes into Sialkot, the city, in order to access healthcare. And the third lady is Zara, who graduated from medical school 3 years ago. Now, the good news is that 60% of Zara's graduating medical class are women. The bad news is that 3 out of every 4 of them, over 50,000 of them nationwide, are not participating in the workforce, largely due to social cultural barriers that discourage them from participating in the workforce or working in remote areas such as urban slums or remote rural areas. Now, this is a problem which is global. There are over 300,000 women who at any given time are transitionally out of the workforce, including right here in Germany, and that's something that the government may want to consider in terms of leveraging these models, especially to address the needs of refugees or other such marginalized populations. So at doctHERs, we really believe about connecting women to their true potential, and the way we do this is we take nurses such as Fosia, we give them laptops, tablets, smartphones, and then we connect them, or we rather connect health consumers in need, such as Sophia, to doctors who are remotely located, such as Zara. So Zara works from home, connects and is connected to Sophia, and is able to guide or navigate Fosia in doing fairly sophisticated healthcare procedures. As part of our continuous innovation and human-centered design thinking, we also wanted to understand what are the deterrents or barriers to accessing healthcare. And access to menstrual hygiene was one of the major barriers that we identified. So in collaboration with P&G, GSK and Telenor, we actually came up with a product or an app which helps to address or deliver on those needs. This is a young, agile team. I'm the notable exception. We do have excellent advisors from P&G, Unilever, and other large corporations. We conducted over 25,000 video consultations paid last year, generating over $300,000 in revenue. I could go on, but I'm happy to answer all of those questions during the Q&A. And suffice it to say that we're here to build partnerships, to look for corporate partners with whom we can scale this model globally. Thank you. I'm sorry for the speed at which I was speaking.
I would think you're from New York with the speed that you spoke. People like me, I'm from New York, we speak that fast.
Oh, yeah, well, so...
Pakistan also, I guess.
This is what happens when you're given 3 minutes and you actually have a 6-minute presentation. You have to squeeze it into 3 minutes, so you just start speaking really fast. Sorry.
Questions? There must be questions.
Why is it doctHERs? Why do you concentrate only on women?
Well, doctHERs, first of all, wouldn't sound too good, number one. Number two is that, as I mentioned, in Pakistan, 3 out of every 4 women are excluded from the workforce. This is a massive loss of human potential and capital. And this is a problem that's not just specific to Pakistan. It's actually something that is observable through MENASA, which is the Middle East, North Africa, South Asian region. But also, as I mentioned, even in industrialized nations such as the one you're in today, at any given time, between 5 to 15% of the female workforce is excluded or not participating in the workforce, largely due to family care or parental care or childcare responsibilities. They can be repurposed, they can be re-engaged leveraging technology, and that's what we're proposing.
Thank you. I would be interested why you are, whether you have a strategy concerning deciding for partners, like from all the partners that you were.
So our strategy is that we look up and down corporate supply chains, and we partner with companies like Unilever or Telenor, and we say, okay, how can we create value for your supply chain? Now, who's in their supply chain? Smallholder farmers, distributors, retailers, mum and pop retailers. So you're going from urban center all the way up to last mile rural. In Pakistan, that number is 87 million lives who happen to be in the supply chains of corporations. So it's a very, very good distribution channel, number one. Number two, many of these corporations co-finance these digital health and wellness plans as part of market-based loyalty, customer loyalty, supplier quality control programs, or retailer incentive programs. So in the case of Unilever, they have 20,000 lives who are part of their distribution sales force that are enrolled in this program, and Unilever finances this as an incentive program, and they actually have measured the ROI on this. It's 4.2. For every dollar or euro they put in, they get $4.2 of extra sales, measured over the last 3 years. Yes.
Your idea of bringing the women back to the workforce is a fantastic idea.
Thank you.
The question is, what is the business model behind that? Are you also considering incentivizing these women? Are you considering about bringing them back to the workforce? Some words about that, please.
Sure. So we have two business models. We actually have more, but just for the sake of simplicity, we have a B2B business model in which we work with large corporations. I mentioned for you, Unilever, Reckitt, Telenor, etc. For every euro that they pay us, 50 cents or 50 euro cents goes to the doctor, the female provider at home. So 50% of the money goes straight to the female doctor. 20%, depending, 15 to 20% goes to the community-based health worker or nurse or midwife, depending on who that community worker is. And the remaining 30% comes to us and covers our OPEX, as well as generates between a 10 to 15% net profit margin. We run a very lean operation, although I'm not symbolic of that leanness, unfortunately. The second point to your point is that there are 50,000 of these female doctors in Pakistan. There are 7,000 in the diaspora, even here in Europe as well, who are not participating in the workforce. These are licensed, credentialed, very well-trained English-speaking physicians who can literally provide services from anywhere remotely. And so we're beginning to see this emergence of an agile workforce, even in country, but also in other parts of the world. And we believe that this is a choice that is actually not just restricted to those who are not participating, but those who are also participating in the workforce. So it becomes a work-life balance. So even the physicians who are currently in the workforce may choose to practice remotely or through a more agile system, if you will. Does that answer your question?
Just one last question.
Yes.
So great that you're bringing back women into the workforce. I can only agree here. And I can imagine that this is particularly important when the children are still small or in under certain circumstances. So I was wondering if your solution also helps women to get back into the clinics because they keep working and keep being experienced.
Yeah, and in fact, we've observed this over the last 2 years. So our theory of change, which is actually predicated on Professor Yunus's microcredit or microfinance system in Bangladesh, was that if you empower women and give them autonomy, give them financial independence, you will see a social transformation occurring. This is kind of the long-term theory of change. And so what we did is we said, okay, let's first get them into the workforce from home, using an agile workforce. Let's give them option. Let's give them a choice to work. And then as we increase their income and as we see them more engaged, both at the community level as well as at the institutional or tertiary care level, the theory of change is that some of them, not all of them, but many of them will actually reintegrate fully into the workforce. And that has happened in about, we have 150 of those doctors who are now what we call hybrids. So they are working from home as well as working in clinics or in hospitals. So we are beginning to see this kind of hybridization where women who were previously not at all participating are now participating either part-time or flexi-time. And the best part of it is that this is based on their choice. The society is not dictating terms to them. This is something which is based on their own lifestyle.
Actually, you got to speak faster.
Sorry, I just have to speak faster? Okay, we can speak really fast. Quick. Sorry. All right, thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, so our last finalist. The greatest medical breakthroughs can only help if patients can afford them. WeCare.id from Indonesia is enabling poor and underserved patients to do just that. Let's welcome Gige Septianto. Did I say that right?
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for having me. My name is Gigi Septianto, and I'm from WeCare.id from Indonesia. The story began from one of our patients. The name is Pirlemon, 14 years old, living in Jakarta, Indonesia. He left by his parents since his childhood, so he practically lived with his grandparents with a monthly income for about $100 per month. And at one point, he developed an acute appendicitis, which basically he has leakage in his appendix and causes a lot of complexity from nausea to vomiting to a lot of pains. And he needs about $1,500 for surgery. And it's very, very difficult for him because his parent is not admitting him as a children, and he doesn't have necessary documents to apply for the national insurance. So what does a patient like Pierre Lemon do? The first, usually they will look for a loan. It could be from families, it could be from the hospital itself, it could be from any relatives, but it's still very big responsibility for them because they will still need to repay the debt after the treatments. Or they can fundraise through WhatsApp, BBM, any scattered channels, or if they're lucky enough, they will get exposed by the national media, but not everyone will have the same opportunity, because if the story is not sad enough, no national media will cover for that. If those two options fail, he has no options then to be returned from the hospitals, increasing the numbers of the preventable deaths and lead patients like Pierre Lemon to be unproductive society. Sadly, it's an actually multi-sided problem. The hospital owes a lot of money because the patient cannot pay the medical bill, and then the government just cannot fill the gaps with the current bureaucracy. And there is about 28 million people who are uninsured. And at the other side, there are 170 million people who just want to give and help the patients, but doesn't have reliable and responsible platform to do that. So what we do, we build a medical crowdfunding platform, and everyone can, when we post the photos of the patients, the donors can read the stories and see how much they need, where they'll get treated, and donate as little as $2 for the patient that they want to help. This is how it works. The patient is submitted by the medical partners, and we get them crowdfunded on our sites, and we transfer the money back in the hospitals. So far, we've been around for about 2 years so far, and we've crowdfunded for more than $200,000 so far for the 206 patients. Our patients spread across 15 provinces around Indonesia, and we have about 4,000 users and donors who are participating in this crowdfunding. The refund window is pretty short. We take 10% management fee for every patient fully funded through our site. Okay, so we just keep it up fast. So yeah, we believe on making, bringing the healthcare for everyone, regardless of geographical locations and economical situations. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Do we have some questions? Quick ones. No questions. Okay. Do you have a question? No. Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
So that's it, basically. So now thank you. So the judges will now go in their secret chamber and decide who the winner of this year's startup track will be. In the meantime, all the startups are available in the area over there. You can talk to them, ask them questions, invest money in their companies, maybe get a job, I don't know. And then come back, 1815, right? 1815 will be the award ceremony, starting with Hermann Grohe, who's the German Minister of Health, will give the introduction for the award ceremony. Okay, see you then. Thank you very much.